everybody. Welcome to My String of Pearls, episode 6. 6? My name is Myoka, and I'm coming to you from a small town in the Okanagan of British Columbia, where the sun is starting to stream through my windows, and I hope it doesn't affect my lighting too much, but I can see mohair floating around already. You can find me on Instagram. I am Myoka Kale, and on Ravelry, I am My String of Pearls. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Warm, happy hugs to you. I'm so thankful that you are back. And if you are a new viewer, welcome. So thankful that you found this little corner of the internet. I hope that you take away a little bit of inspiration, creativity, or just find that this is a safe, calm space to hopefully return to again one day. I don't want this podcast to be heavy by any means, but I do feel it is important to touch on a couple different topics regarding what is happening in our world right now. So as you can tell, a couple different things. One, I'm by myself. I'm not with my mom. Mom is usually joining me. And another is I'm in a different location. So I am still at home. I'm just in my craft room in my studio today. And Mom is at home at her house. And we, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, have decided to social distance and self-quarantine, I guess you could say. From what we know, neither of us have been exposed to the virus and we are safe. However, too safe is never too sorry, right? And so the way that we are recording our podcast today is that I'm going to do my piece, Mom's going to do her piece, and somehow I will make them meld together and it will hopefully all be in one video. I'm not too sure. This might be part 1. And then you might have part 2 with Mom in another stage. Just decided that that was the best way to do it, as doing a split screen sometimes, like a, what do you call it, Skype or FaceTime. I find the sound quality on one is a little bit better than the other. And if you're talking over each other at all, I definitely notice the microphone will kind of cut out and cut one person out and whatnot. So I just thought that this was the best way to get content to you and for us to stay safe. And in that breath, I don't want to get upset, but my heart goes out to anybody and everybody who is affected by this right now. I hope that everyone is staying safe and healthy and happy. It's uncharted waters, as most of you know, and I truly, in my heart, believe that we will come through this in a very strong way. People's kindness, the economy, everything is going to benefit in some way from this, even though right now it feels terrifying and unknown. For us personally, for those of you who don't know, I am a registered massage therapist. I own my own business. I don't have any other practitioners that work with me, but I am self-employed. And if I'm not working, I am not receiving a paycheck. Thankfully, my husband, Matt, is a welder, and they work kind of in a contractor construction area. And that, at this point, is considered an essential service. And so they are still working. Not a lot, but they are still working and being safe with their work. There's like 1 or 2 of them at a job at one time. Not a lot of other contact. Yeah, it's difficult in terms of massage therapy because if you are very hands-on. My last day of work was last Tuesday, so it'll be a week tomorrow. I treated 4 people on my original 7 that I was supposed to see. The following day, 2 people were only booked. The day after that, I think I had 3. My cancellation rate was up to 90% already. just people being worried, self-quarantining themselves already, people that were traveling, anyone that had any sort of sniffle or sore throat. And it truly felt wrong to touch people and to be in such a close proximity, even though from my understanding, I was healthy. I spoke to each and every one of my clients that was coming in. But you are in a very close proximity, and no matter how many times I sterilized the surfaces and whatnot, like my hands were burning from the wipes that I was using. And I mean, I clean everything really well anyway. You have to in the health profession that I'm in, but I just was going that extra mile and to keep myself and my clients as safe as possible. But that afternoon, I received an email from my College of Massage Therapy of BC, the board of directors, strongly advising that we suspend business for at least 2 weeks. And then 4 days after that, I believe, we actually received an email, not directly from Bonnie Henry, Dr. Bonnie Henry, the Minister of Health, I believe she is. Not directly from her, but we received a email through our college again saying that we are to suspend practice until further notice, cancel any upcoming appointments, and you could get a fine if you were working. So at that point, I was already off and had already canceled 2 weeks. I'm taking it week by week right now just because so many of my clients book so far in advance that to cancel all the way into April and May would just be a nightmare, as I don't have a receptionist, and to try and rebook those clients back in if we are able to return to work in those months. Just more work than need be, and most of my clients I'm in fairly close contact with anyway, and so yeah, I like I said, I'm trying not to be too worried about it, trying not to be too anxious. But going a couple of weeks, if not a couple of months, without a paycheck is definitely not something we wish for. But I think that we will be okay. And so thankful for my knitting and my crafting and my... Like, I think I saw something the other day. It was like, knitters, we've trained for this. Like, we know how to self-quarantine already. We know how to be a homebody. We know how to occupy hours upon hours of time, right? So, yeah, like I said, I don't want this to be a heavy podcast by any means. I want this to be light and airy and calm and full of love for you, but I did feel it was very important to share kind of what was happening for us here, as I know I have people that watch all over the world, and we're not on a mandatory lockdown right now, but it is very strongly encouraged, and I believe we have over 400 cases in British Columbia. So yeah, it's real, it's happening, and my prayer to you, if you are in anywhere actually, not just in BC, but anywhere, please stay home. Please do your part. This is real. This could not be any more real. And it might not be a huge thing, but that's okay, because if we have any control over it by staying home and knitting, let's do it, right? Let's just do it. And for those who, like myself, are self-employed and are out of work right now, I feel you, and may you be okay. So let's take a breath. This too shall pass. We are okay. We are healthy. And I came here to talk to you about knitting. So let's get to it. Like I said, so thankful for this craft, for making, and so thankful for this platform, and for each and every one of you who sign in, click, sit down, wherever you may be, bathtub, couch, bed, driving, I don't care. So thankful that you are here and that you enjoy this content, because it gives me an outlet, especially in this time, and gives us space to share and connect, right? So without further ado, let's talk knitting. I don't really have a finished object to show you. I know, I'm so sorry. Without, there's no explanation. I did finish something, and in true Myoka fashion, I gifted it to that person already, but not without taking a picture, and not without asking her to send me a couple pictures of her wearing it as well. So I have a client of mine who is growing out her hair, and before all of this happened, her plan was to grow out her hair, and she's got shorter hair and just letting the grays take over, she said. And she wanted a really nice light hat to wear to do that. So she's not a knitter, and she bought a hat from, I think, the Bay, and it was quite warm. And she just asked if I was able to knit her something. And I'm not what would you say? I wouldn't call myself a contract knitter very often, but I do enjoy knitting the odd thing for a couple of people that I believe are knit worthy. And I don't ask for money in return. I ask for a gift card to a yarn shop. And so that's exactly what I got. But I'll put the pictures up here now. So this was just a pattern. I sent her off to the yarn store, and I said, can you just tell them who you are, that I've sent you, and that you need a hat pattern and some yarn. And so she did that, and she came back, and as you can see, it was a beautiful, beautiful array of colors. And I can't quite remember what the yarn was. I'll have it in my Ravelry page for you. And she came back with this little pattern booklet. So we did Sloat Hat A. It's this one here. Yeah, and it was a paid for pattern just in this book here, and strange pattern, and I wish I would have read through it a little bit more before I did it, because it was knit flat, knit one row, purl another, knit one, purl another, decrease, increase, etc., etc. And I don't love joining. I don't like making a seam if I don't have to. Like the hat I'm wearing now, when I knit it, I've shown this before, this is On the Sea Train by Is Fast Rico, and it's just in the round, away you go, do-do-do. And I totally could have done this pattern that way, and I just wish I would have read ahead to see, but nonetheless, I did it, and then I got to the end, and I had to just do a mattress stitch up the seam, and yeah, she loved it. And she gave me this to keep so that I could do another couple hats if I wanted to, because she's no use for it. I gave her back her yarn, and I don't even know, she might even give it back to me to make her or somebody else in her life another one. So it was a nice kind of fun project. I worked on that while we were out of town a little bit, and it brought some color to my life. But that's the only finished object that I have to show today, just because I have been a very, very well, what would you say, monogamous knitter. I've been a good wifey. So if you've watched before, you will know that I'm knitting the Ranger Cardigan by Jared Flood for my husband, Matt. And you've seen this a couple times. You're probably going to see it a couple times more, so I apologize if you're getting bored of it, but touche, because so am I. I think I've showed these already. These are the sleeves. You saw my little increases there. Increases, yeah. Smells good. These are the sleeves. It was about 1.5 skeins per sleeve. This is a lot of knitting and a lot of yarn. I'm knitting it out of Shelter by Brooklyn Tweed in the Soot colorway. Really, really nice dark gray. I'm finding Shelter to be a little bit more of a rougher yarn in my hands, and lots of hand cream. I actually load up hand cream before I start knitting. But I did a swatch, and I blocked it and soaked it, and the after fabric is just, it blooms so nicely. It's got a really pretty stitch pattern to it. Oh, that's where that needle is. Yeah, so I am now working on the body. Where are we going here? Yeah. Pardon me. And I am making progress. Put it on him as best you can put a cardigan on somebody the other day. And this is like stitch marker to stitch marker, the back, and then I wrapped it around, and I was just kind of sitting there looking at it like, is that going to be big enough? But of course, it blooms a bit once I block it, and then you could pick up and do your button band across the front here a little bit too. So plenty big enough. I believe with the sleeves included, I'm on my 6th skein of yarn. Yeah, I'm really anxious to get it done. I'm really monogamously, I cannot say that word today. I'm monogamously knitting on this because I just want it done. Really tempted to cast something else on, and I might actually still, but just, I don't know. I don't usually lose steam on larger projects right away, but this is not straight knitting. There's definitely a bit of a pattern to it, and it's just boring. It's gray. It's boring. I wouldn't do any other color for him other than maybe a blue or a black. I think black would be even worse than gray. And it's going to be lovely when it's done. And he's so sweet. He says he knows how much love is going into it, and he cannot wait to show it off and say, like, my wife made this. So that right there is making it so worth it. But yeah, I need a little bit of color. So that is my work in progress for knitting. Just because of being off for a while, I wanted to pick up a couple other little projects to do. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that we have been doing some renovating. In hindsight, wish we hadn't have spent the money on the renovating supplies until after all of this, but it was already said and done. And in a weekend, we have 2 of our 3 bathrooms pretty much completely renovated. So that was wonderful. I'm also painting closet doors, bathroom doors, that kind of thing, getting that sort of stuff done. So in terms of knitting and making, I'm feeling like if I get that stuff done first, then I can sit and just blissfully tune into a podcast or 2, watch something on the Disney Channel, and just feel like the big stuff is done, right? So one of the things I have been doing is sewing, actually. So my mom is a seamstress, and growing up, she made me dresses, she made me shirts, we learned how to make Barbie clothes, and truthfully, I just never really got into sewing that much. I did a little bit in home ec in high school. I think the last thing I sewed was maybe fleece pajama bottoms, and that was it. It just wasn't a thing for me. I love fabric, I really do. I'm a quilter, I like to sew blankets, that kind of thing, but it just was never anything that interesting to me. But I was watching the Hey Sister podcast quite a few months ago, because they are not filming podcasts anymore, but they had a section on there, it was sewing, and they also they're always showing they call their me made wardrobes, and just phenomenal, like just something that you couldn't buy in a store, obviously. And one of the things that they showed on their podcast a couple of times was the Emmaline Team by Little Tailoress. So you can buy this on her website, I think it's Etsy, and it's PDF. So I just downloaded it, sent it to a local print shop here, because there was a lot of pages. I think it cost me $5 or $6 to print. You cut out your pages and tape them together, and then you trace your pattern over, whatever. So you have 3 different versions 1, 2, and 3, and I'm doing version 1 just for kind of a simple start. So Mom took me to Fabricland, and I got some fabric. So this one is my start, and I'm laughing at myself because I just said to you that I need some color in my life. However, I'm making a gray t-shirt. So this is another work in progress. I just finished my folded hem on my sleeves. I am quite proud. I didn't do something quite right in the underarm there, but that's okay because you won't be able to see it very good. And so now I just need to finish the neckline and a hem as well. So this is a really nice fabric. This is called Ponti, P-O-N-T-I. It was on sale at, man, it's dusty in here. It was on sale at Fabricland for $6 a yard or a meter, and I needed 1.6 meters or something like that, so I just got 2. And this is my practice one. Mom said get some cheap fabric to practice it out on, and I'm really proud of myself. Honestly, I haven't had a ton of help. I've looked through a couple different YouTube videos of how to make shirts and whatnot, and I'm doing the large just because I measured out some of my other t-shirts that I wear a lot in terms of size. I added, I think, 3 inches of length, and then for the neckline, I did, instead of the large neckline, I did a small neckline, so it scoops down just a little bit more, which I'm worried that that's going to play with my neck band that I have to sew on, but that's okay. Yeah, so this was like my practice one, and I'm just really, really stoked that I've that I've sewn a t-shirt. And this pattern, you guys, is fantastic. Her detail in here is just, she really doesn't leave anything, she doesn't leave anything out. It's all, there's so many pages of instruction and tips of different things. There's how to do it with a woven fabric or a knit fabric, how to crop it, how to, you name it, right? So I really wanted a black one. So I got some really nice black fabric that's already been washed and dried. And it's just this really nice t-shirt knit, kind of stretchy. It's beautiful fabric. And then I'm also a navy girl. I really like wearing a deep navy. So I got some navy as well. And I got a little bit extra of the black because I'm even considering doing like a t-shirt dress style or like a v-neck tank or something with it. The one, like version 3 has like cropped sleeves. And then version 3, you can do like a contrasting color on your sleeves if you want to. So I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm really proud that I've done that. My machine is ancient. It is a Husqvarna 3000. I think it was my grandma's, and it works. It's tough, let me tell you, with that knit fabric. You just really, you gotta baby it in there. But I'm doing it. I'm excited. I'm gonna have a t-shirt. I was hoping to wear one today, but of course I'm downstairs and it's a little bit chillier down here. So, actually, I guess I could talk about that a little bit. Let me get some water here quick. I have recorded this, re-recorded it, started again several times. So if I repeat myself, I am sorry. I am in a new location. I'm still at home, but I am in my craft studio. A couple weeks ago, we finally had it painted. This here used to be like a hot corally pink color. The walls were kind of a creamy yellow, and I'll actually put a couple pictures up of before maybe, and eventually I'd like to do a craft room tour, but I'm not quite organized. I still have a bunch of stuff in the other room. The roof needs to get finished on the other side there. And, but let me tell you, this girl is excited. I finally have a craft room. I have dreamed of my own craft room for years, and it's bright, it's beautiful. I yeah, I spend quite a bit of time down here. But I bundle up while I'm here, so that's I have a toque and a sweater and my new slippers on. Yeah, let's talk about acquisitions then. Let's lead right into that. Has anyone ever heard of glare-ups? They are 100% wool, felted wool glare-ups. There you go. 100% felted wool slipper. We recently went to Cranbrook to visit some family and stopped in Kimberley as well. And the Kimberley has this really awesome shoe store there. I have small feet. I'm like a 5.5, 6 on a really good day. And I've seen these before, but I never wanted to order them online just because it's a hassle and I'm honestly lazy at returning things. So if it wasn't the right size, I didn't really want to have to deal with that, and I want to try them on, see the colors, you name it. So I went in there and I got these. They have a leather soled bottom, which is what I was really looking for. The wool, as you know, allows you to not get too warm. It's supposed to cool you in the summer, warm you in the winter. I love them, especially being downstairs. My studio is kind of in the basement here, and just keeps me super cozy down here. And actually Matt, my husband, went and got a dark black pair for him, and he does not take them off. He has another pair, kind of like a moccasin slipper. They have like a plastic bottom on them, and when we redid our floor upstairs, he would go outside, start the truck or out to the shop or whatever, and he would wear them in and out, and I was like, I could hear that kind of gravelly sound of the moccasin sole with like grit or something on the floor, and I just didn't want the floor to get scratched. And I felt like if you want an inside slipper, you have an inside slipper, and I like the leather sole because it's just a little bit nicer on the floor and whatnot. So that was my first acquisition, and I'm really excited. I believe the Grocery Girls have talked about them a couple of times, and I've just been keeping an eye open for them, so I'm happy that I have found those. And another thing is, there is this beautiful new yarn store in Kimberley. It's called the Nitty Gritty. They are down on the Platzel, which is this beautiful cobblestone boardwalk sort of thing. It's their downtown. You can't drive in, you park on the outside, and you walk in and you go through all these amazing little shops. And we have family that live in Kimberley as well, so we visited them. And I want to say that these guys opened in December. And not that we made a specific trip to Kimberley just for the yarn store, but I was definitely excited to go and check it out. And it was the sweetest little thing. I'll put a clip in because I took a couple of pictures and a quick little video too. And it was the cutest sign outside. I wanted to show it off because I just thought it was the coolest thing to check out. And if you're passing through, definitely stop and walk down the Platzel. There's amazing little mom and pop shops. And then, of course, if you are a knitter, like why would you be here if you're not? Check out the Nitty Gritty. Whenever I'm in a local yarn store, I always ask if there is a dyer, weaver, spinner in the area that they carry their yarn. And of course they did. So I picked myself up. This is called Happy Homes. This is if you go farther back, there you go. This is the moss colorway. DK weight, 80-10-10, 80% superwash merino, 10% nylon, 10% cashmere. And then this is toffee. Yeah. And same thing. So really soft, really gorgeous. Happy Homes. You can find them on Happy Homes Fiber Arts on Instagram, which I haven't done yet. I'm not sure if they're going to go together. I'm loving my greens right now. Maybe because it's still snowy outside and I'm craving spring. But possibly a shawl. I don't know. I did buy them to the Norwegian fur cardigan. It's a cardigan. It's like a baby cardigan. I'm not expecting. But I've had it on my queue for a long time, and I've seen it knit up, and I absolutely love it. So I would like to knit it. So I bought this kind of thinking of that, but then I saw the toffee with it, and I thought those together with some gray and blue maybe might be something nice. Another shawl that I've been looking at and seeing, and actually Sandy by Lakeside just mentioned it again the other day, was Vertices Unite by Stephen West. And there's another podcast I watched just did it. And she just had a baby. I can't think of her name, sorry. But yeah, I'm starting to kind of think about doing that one maybe, just to some color in my life. Oh, and I did get this really cool, it's just some, I don't know, long darners, Merchant Mills, England, but it's wood, and it's got needles inside. Can you see the needles? Just kind of like some darning needles. And I just thought that the case was just the cutest thing ever, and perfect to store some darning needles in your project bags. So I got that from there, and I was super excited. I was trying to be good because I don't really need yarn unless it's for a specific project. But that being said, when Mom and I went to town that day to pick up some fabric, we stopped in at A Twist of Yarn, which is our local yarn shop, and I got some green yarn. I've knit with this before. This is the Merino Fine Superwash. It's a beautiful dark green. Oh, there you go. So then I thought maybe the Norwegian fur cardigan with this. I don't know. I need to knit that cardigan. I know that. I need some color, and apparently it's green. So that's what else I got. And I am expecting some yarn in the mail from Scrumptious Pearl that I ordered in her last update. So I'm waiting for that to come in as well. So yeah, not a lot of knitting on my side of the podcast today, but definitely hoping to get Matt's cardigan done. Have some more stuff that I'm looking to cast on, and yeah, I have some questions. We have a Ravelry group called My String of Pearls now, and I posted it up there last time for just a place to connect and share, and just a little bit more of a conversation, I guess, that we can have there. And so I just wrote down a few questions here that I wanted to answer for those people. I was really hoping to do it with Mom because I know that she has a few things to say about these things as well. But that's okay. We can always get back into it a little bit more next time her and I are together. I hope. So, it's me, Sue. Hi. I'm assuming your name is Sue. She asked me, I had mentioned felting in my ends on my weekender, and she was wondering if I could explain that a little bit more. So one thing that I do, depending on the yarn, of course, is I have this needle felter. And I just bought this at the local yarn store. You can get a felter that has more than one needle on it, of course. The one that I have has just got one. And all I do is I take my end, and I kind of use a darning needle, and I go through, and you always have like this little bit of a tuft or something like that sticking out, right? Or if you pull it, your little end kind of weaves its way out. So I always just kind of fluff up that end, and then all I do is I felt it in. This is a tip that I received from Vanessa Knits. She was one of my Fiverr Share buddies, and she said she felt almost all her ends in. And I just think it's a fantastic way to finish your project. I always felt with the good side up, because when you felt, the underside kind of has this little bit of a fluff, almost like a mohair fuzz happening. So yeah, that I don't felt all of my projects, but I do highly recommend getting a felter. They are super cheap, not super cheap, they're super affordable and a fantastic way to finish your projects without having that end sticking out. Now, Sue, I think when I was talking about this, I was sniveling away because I had felted my ends on my weekender on the edges of the neckline, and I had to cut it open because my neckline was too tight. That's in our last podcast. But if you are very finished with your project, felt your ends in, it is a fantastic finish. I will never go back. It is a great, great little tool to have. Mammy Grizzly Knits. Hello, and thank you so much for your comment. She wants to know if we knit continental or throw. And I answered this on her question, but I had to Google this because I don't know what I did. I knit the way that I was taught to knit. So I had to Google it. And I knit, apparently, a throw. So I remember Mom teaching me to knit when I was little. We got a book from the library. And what I was taught was in through the front door, once around the back, peek through the window, and off jumps Jack. Ready? In the front door, once around the back, peek through the window, and off jumps Jack. So I throw. Mom throws as well. I have knit continental, and the difference between continental and throwing, from my understanding, is continental you hold the yarn in your left hand. I know this is backwards on the screen. Maybe if I turned around. You hold the yarn in your left hand, and you just hold it and flick it. No, flicking is something completely different. I believe flicking and throwing are very similar. Anyway, continental is on your left. I have done that before. I wasn't super fast with it. And I also was not, my gauge wasn't good. And so I thought, I'm a fast thrower. I work a little bit more closer to the tips of my needles. And it's fluid for me. I don't drop, like some people, you drop your right hand and then you throw it. It's right there. My gauge is perfect. I'm not messing stuff up that way. So I am a thrower. Luann from Tennessee. Hello, Luann. Thank you. She said that I steam blocked my weekender. She wants to know how I did that and if there's any tips and tricks. So what I do with my garments as I'm going, and I learned this trick through Melissa from Espastry Co., is to steam block. And so all I do, and there's a couple of different ways of doing it, but what I do is I put my ironing board out, I put my knit down nice and flat, I put like a tea towel or a cotton something on top of it, and then I just take my iron, and I don't press too hard because I find it definitely flattens out your stitches too much, but I just put the iron right on top, and I hit the steam, and it goes, and it just lets it block just slightly. And then I take the tea towel off, and I just kind of give the fabric just a little bit of a fluff, but I don't move it too soon. I don't steam it so much that it's soaked, but I just give it enough to let it dry. And then I move it a little bit more, put my tea towel down, same thing, steam with the iron. I have seen people use like an actual steam wand and do it that way. I don't own a steam wand, so this is how I do mine. And to be honest, I actually haven't even washed or properly blocked my weekender yet, and I've worn it several times. And I just wore it the other day around a campfire, so I think I'm going to need to give it a good soak and just let the fibers bloom, which you really should do anyway. I just was really excited to wear it. So steam blocking, it just really helps, especially if you have any of those curling edges, if you're doing a stockinette stitch, or your yarn's just kind of bunching up and you want to know the true fit of your garment. Steam blocking, I swear by it. I steam block a lot of my shawls and stuff like that even after I've washed them, because sometimes in the wash, unless you're actually laying it flat and like blocking it, sometimes the the lace work or the pattern just gets kind of a little bit more jumbled. And I just stretch it out how much I want it, and I do the steam on it that way. So that's kind of all the questions that we had right now, specifically in the Ravelry group. Anything that is on our YouTube channel, I try and comment specifically on that one. I have had a couple comments and questions on my Instagram as well. So of course, I'm not going to share everything, but anything that you would like me or Mom to specifically talk about on our podcast, we are happy to do so. And please share that in the Ravelry group, My String of Pearls. Kind of all the content that I have for you today. I think that what is going to happen is this is going to be part 1 of the podcast, and then I will upload part 2 with Mom in it as well, just because I'm at 40 plus minutes right now and I'm not quite done. So it takes a long time to upload a longer video, and I'm sure Mom has lots to share because she has been a very busy little knitter over there. She's got smoke coming off her needles. So one thing, we really wanted to do this together, but we can't today. We have a giveaway for you. It's our sincerest gratitude that you spend time with us. And like I said, probably 5-6 times already in this episode alone, this space is precious to me and to Mom. And to have this platform, this space to share, to connect you all there, it's special. It's very cool. And I'm so grateful for it. So I only have a picture because Mom has the goods at her house, but she has made this beautiful project bag. It is pansies, and it's got black on the bottom, and it's a zipper. And then Camilla from A Twist of Yarn in Vernon, which is our local yarn store, she has graciously gifted us a yarn skein of the color called Adventure from their very own dyed in store. I'm not talking like they're dyed in the basement, Color Adventures. And it's this beautiful, beautiful blue. Like I said, I'll put up the picture. Mom will show it in her podcast. And I guess it'll be difficult to do. Well, that's okay. We'll figure it out. I will not comment directly on I'm not going to be able to respond and comment directly on the comments under this video, as well as the one that I'm going to put up of Mom, just because it plays a little bit with how many comments are there when we do the draw. But I would like for you to be liking, subscribing, and leave us a comment. Where are you from? I am blown away by, we have Tennessee, we have Wisconsin, we have UK, we have Vernon, we have people from all over the place. We'd love to know where you're from. So make sure you're liked, subscribed, comment where you're from, and also, how did you find us? Did someone else recommend it? Did you find it on a YouTube recommendation? Just super cool to know how we're popping up for everybody. And again, thank you so much for liking and subscribing, because that makes everybody come to us more, and the viewing audience grow as well. So yes, a giveaway, and we will draw for that giveaway for our next podcast. And I pray that we are together for that. I miss my mom. I started this podcast by myself. Little did I know that it would be way funner with her, and it is not the same without her. So yes. So I'm signing off because my lighting is getting really bad down here in my sweet little studio, and I need to make us some dinner because it's already getting to be that time. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Happy knitting, happy creating, making. May you all stay safe and healthy, and love and light to each and every one of you.